I got home that Friday evening, exhausted but hopeful. After a full week on site in Nevada, screaming over blueprints and dealing with supply chain nightmares for the new interstate bridge, I was craving nothing more than a peaceful evening with my beautiful wife. 22 years of marriage under our belts, and with our 3 grown kids already out of the house, living their own lives, I figured we might finally enjoy a quiet, romantic night together. Maybe that new Italian place downtown, just the 2 of us. I stepped in through the garage, tossed my hard hat and work bag on the bench, and walked into the kitchen. Mail and glossy real estate flyers were scattered across the granite countertop. Nothing new there. I was flipping through a water bill when I heard footsteps upstairs, then someone descending the stairs quickly. A second later, Jenna, my still gorgeous 45-year-old wife, appeared in the living room. She was wearing that short, silk robe, the one that used to make my pulse race whenever she wore it. And damn it, even in that moment, a part of me still reacted to her the same way. "Oh," she said, stopping in her tracks. "You're early. I wasn't expecting you for another hour." I looked at my watch. "Yeah, caught an earlier flight. Not by much, though. What's going on? Are we going somewhere?" She blinked, paused, then avoiding my eyes, said, "Well, I'm going. I don't know what you're doing." And just like that, my stomach dropped. My whole weekend, my whole sense of reality, fell apart in one sentence. "What do you mean you're going? Going where?" "With who?" I asked, my eyes already locking onto a small designer overnight bag sitting neatly at the end of the couch. She hesitated just a second too long. "I have a date with Chadwick Vance for the weekend. I'll be back Sunday night. We can talk about it then." I stood there like an idiot, my brain buffering. What the hell did you just say? But she didn't wait. She turned and bolted upstairs, her robe fluttering behind her, and I heard our bedroom door slam shut. What the hell? Is this real? She was actually doing this? My hands were shaking. My heart pounded with a mixture of rage and disbelief. I needed backup. I needed people to witness this, because there was no way in hell I was going to let her spin this back on me later. I was a project manager. I knew you documented everything before demolition. I yanked my phone out of my pocket and called my daughter, Emily. No way I was letting Jenna make me the villain in this story. "Hey, Daddy," Emily answered, cheerful as always. "Emily, you need to come home now," I said, my voice tight. "Your mom hit her head. She needs help." "What?" "Oh my God, I'm coming," she said, her voice filled with panic before hanging up. Next, I texted the same to my oldest, Josh, and added, "Call Mike and tell him to get here fast." His response came back instantly. "Dad, what the fuck?" I ignored it. Then I called her parents, fed them the same line. Same confusion, same rising panic. While I waited, I grabbed Jenna's purse from the kitchen counter and dumped its entire contents onto the coffee table. Keys, credit cards, high-end lip gloss, and then a 12-pack of Trojan condoms. 12. I'd had a vasectomy 15 years ago. And right under that, a printed confirmation email from the Juniper Ridge Resort and Spa, rooms 703 through 710. What the actual hell? Dr. Chadwick Vance. I knew that name. A sought-after plastic surgeon from Scottsdale. I'd met him once at one of those sterile charity galas her firm sponsored. Slick, arrogant type with a smile that never reached his eyes. Creeped me out. And his wife, Eleanor, a woman who looked like she was carved from marble, with eyes that held entire novels she wasn't allowed to read aloud. I clenched my teeth, grabbed Jenna's credit cards and keys, and pocketed the hotel confirmation. Then I unlocked her phone. Of course, the passcode was our anniversary. How sentimental. While she was still upstairs, probably slipping into something expensive for her romantic little getaway, I went through her contacts and found Dr. Vance's home number. No cell, no problem. I took a breath and dialed. 2 rings. Then a woman answered. "Hello? Is this Mrs. Vance? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Yes. Who is this? This is Frank Miller. My wife is Jenna Miller. It is Mayor. She was Jenna Miller, a top agent at her firm. You might remember, we met briefly at the charity gala last year. There was a pause on the other end. Then a softer, more cautious tone. Yes, Frank, I remember. Chadwick and I were just talking about you two a few days ago. He mentioned Jenna was closing a big deal in Paradise Valley. Her voice was smooth as glass. I was actually expecting a call from him, not you. What can I do for you? I swallowed hard, the bile rising in my throat. So, your husband isn't home right now? No, she replied evenly. He's in San Diego at a medical technology expo. Why? I inhaled through my nose, steadying the rage building in my gut like concrete, setting too fast. Eleanor, I don't know how to say this gently, but I don't think he's in San Diego. I just had a massive argument with my wife. She told me she's spending the weekend with your husband at the Juniper Ridge Resort. She said she'd be home Sunday night. There was dead silence on the other end of the line. Then, a sharp intake of breath. What? What are you talking about? I think we're both being lied to, I said, my voice flat. I have the email confirmation for their reservation. 7 adjoining rooms on the 7th floor, booked from today through Monday. Another long pause. Then she exhaled, and the sound was like ice cracking. I have saved your number, Mr. Miller. I will be in touch. The line went dead. I slammed the phone down, my hand still shaking. One thought cut through the chaos in my head. This rabbit hole goes way deeper. This wasn't an affair. It was an operation. I pulled up Jenna's contacts again and found the number for Brenda Peterson, the managing broker at her real estate firm. They were close. And her husband, Rick, he was a detective sergeant with the city police. I dialed. She answered on the second ring. Hello? Brenda Peterson. Brenda, it's Frank Miller, Jenna's husband. A muffled "oh no" came through the receiver. Yeah, that's about right, I said bitterly. Listen, I think something's going on between Dr. Vance and my wife, something completely inappropriate. And I think you know about it. Frank, I can't talk right now. I have to go. Click. What the hell? Almost immediately, Jenna's phone started buzzing on the counter. I picked it up and answered without thinking. Before I could say a word, a frantic voice hissed through the speaker. Jenna, he knows. He knows everything. What did you tell him? It was Brenda. I didn't say a word. I just let her panic fester in the silence. Not everything, I heard Jenna's voice say faintly from somewhere upstairs. But he's piecing it together. There was a sharp, strangled sigh from Brenda's end. God help us! Click. I stared at the phone for a second, then went back to the contact list and found Brenda's home number. I dialed. 4 rings. Then a man picked up. If this is another telemarketer, I swear to God. Rick, I interrupted. It's Frank Miller, Jenna's husband. Oh, hey Frank. Sorry, man. Been getting nothing but spam calls today. What's up? Everything okay? I hesitated a second, then went for it. Is Brenda home? Nope. I'm stuck babysitting the kids. She's in California for that Women in Leadership Real Estate Conference this weekend. Why? I closed my eyes and exhaled slowly. Rick, I think that conference is a cover story. I just found out my wife is supposedly spending the weekend with Dr. Vance, and Brenda's mixed up in this somehow. There are 7 rooms booked under Vance's name at the Juniper Ridge Resort. I let that sink in. 7 rooms. This might not be just the 3 of them. Silence. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I asked. Rick was quiet for a long time. Then he said, his voice grim. I don't know what to think, Frank. But I know one thing. Jenna's not walking out that door tonight. I don't care if I end up in jail. Let me know if you find anything, I said. And don't do anything stupid. Easy for him to say. I hung up just in time to see Jenna descending the stairs like some damn soap opera villain. She was wearing a red silk sheath dress that looked like it had been sewn directly onto her skin. The neckline plunged nearly to her navel, and a slit on the side ran almost all the way up her thigh. When she saw her purse and its spilled contents on the table, she stopped dead in her tracks. "What the hell, Frank? I have to leave. Why would you throw my things everywhere?" She started scrambling to pick everything up, but I stepped forward, my voice low and sharp. "Oh no, don't bother. You're not going anywhere." End quote. Not tonight. Sit your cheating ass down and shut the hell up. She froze, hands trembling. "I don't belong to you," she whispered, defiant. "I can do whatever I want with my body." I laughed, a bitter, cold sound that didn't feel like my own. "Oh, yeah? Then I guess I can do whatever I want too. How do you like that?" I didn't even think. It was pure, reflexive rage, betrayal, and disbelief boiling over. I reached forward, grabbed the deep neckline of her expensive dress, and yanked. The silk tore like tissue paper. In an instant, Jenna stood there practically exposed. An open-cup bra, a smoky gray lace garter belt, sheer stockings clinging to her thighs. Designer lingerie that I now realized had nothing to do with me. She shrieked and stumbled back. "My dress! What the hell is wrong with you?" "That dress," I said, my voice cold and shaking. "That's my dress. I bought it for you for our 20th anniversary, just like all this lingerie. If you think you're walking out of my house dressed like that to go screw some plastic surgeon in a resort, you are out of your damn mind." And right then, as if the universe had perfect comedic timing, my phone rang. I picked it up, still glaring at her, and put it on speaker. Frank Miller. A cool, steady voice said, "This is Eleanor Vance." I froze. "Yes, I just wanted to let you know you were right. I called the police and reported the Porsche Cayenne stolen. It's in my name, a gift from my father's trust. They pulled Chadwick over 5 minutes ago, not even halfway to the resort. He told the officers he was my husband, that he had every right to drive it." She gave a brittle little chuckle. "They called me to confirm, and I let them know he is absolutely not my husband anymore. You should have heard the panic in his voice when he heard me say that. He started screaming for a lawyer. He's under arrest, and the car has been impounded." She paused for a breath. "Tell your wife. Next time, I'll come for her myself." The second Jenna heard the name Eleanor, her face went white. She let out a panicked screech. "What did you do, Frank? Damn you!" Right then, as if summoned by the sound of chaos, our kids came crashing through the front door. "Dad, what's going on?" Josh yelled, his eyes wide. "Mom, are you okay?" Emily rushed over and looked her mother up and down. "Mom, what happened to your dress?" Their eyes flicked to me, and I could feel the judgment already forming. Then Josh turned back to his mother, his jaw clenched. "What the hell, Mom? What have you done?" Emily pointed at the pile of junk on the coffee table. "Are those a 12-pack of condoms in your purse? Seriously? Planning to make water balloons or something?" "I don't know where those came from," Jenna whispered, trembling. "They're not mine." "Oh, sure," Josh shot back, venom in his tone. "And where exactly were you going, dressed like that? A sexy weekend without your husband?" "It's not what you think," Jenna snapped, louder this time. Then the fatal words came out. "It's my body. I can do what I want." As soon as the words left her lips, you could see the regret flash across her face. The kids stared at her like she'd just slapped them. She saw it, tried to backtrack, mumbling, It's my business." Just then, Mike walked in from the kitchen holding a folded piece of paper. "Here, Dad. This was on the counter. It's addressed to you." He handed it to me, throwing a disgusted glance at his mother. Jenna's eyes widened. "Don't read that!" she screamed, jumping up from the couch. The shredded remnants of her dress fell to the floor around her ankles. Emily rushed to her side, trying to cover her with a throw blanket. "Mom, stop! Sit down!" Sit down, I barked. And shut up. I opened the note. Frank, I read aloud. Got called away last minute. The firm is making that Women in Leadership Conference in San Diego mandatory for all senior partners. Should be home Monday evening. Love, Jenna. The kids exchanged horrified glances. None of them knew what to believe anymore. I realized she must have written that note earlier, before I came home and caught her mid-lie, her entire escape plan unraveling in real time. And right then, as if fate had made popcorn and was settling in for the show, the doorbell rang. Before Mike could reach the door, it swung open and in stormed Jenna's parents. Jenna, are you okay? Her mom cried. What the hell is going on here? Her dad roared, his eyes darting around the ruined scene. Jenna's legs gave out. She fainted right there in the living room, a crumpled, half-naked mess on the hardwood floor. And we're us. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad, I said, the exhaustion hitting me like a physical blow. Welcome to the eye of the shitstorm. Your daughter just blew up our marriage and possibly her entire life and career. Jenna's mother knelt beside her, stroking her hair and whispering in panicked tones, while Emily fanned her with a cushion, trying to get her to come around. Across the room, Jenna's father stood rigid, arms crossed, his face turning a deep, dangerous red. You could practically hear the pressure building in him. I explained everything, what Jenna had said, what I'd found, the resort booking for 7 rooms, the lie to the kids, the fake note about the conference. With every detail, the temperature in the room dropped another 10 degrees. Just as Jenna was coming back to her senses, her eyes fluttered open. She looked around the room, saw her parents, her children, her shredded dress, and me standing over her, arms folded. She broke into gut-wrenching sobs and clung to her mother's sleeve. Help me, she whimpered. Mom, help me. Oh, you want help? I snapped. You were just so independent a minute ago. It's my body. I can do what I want. How about we call your boss, Brenda? See how that Women in Leadership Conference is going. I pulled out my phone. Jenna's eyes went wide with terror. No, Frank, don't. I ignored her and dialed Rick Peterson, putting the call on speaker for everyone to hear. Frank? Rick answered, his voice strained. What's going on? Hey, Rick, I said calmly. Just had a quick question. Has Brenda called you from her conference? Jenna's parents are here, and they were just asking how it was going. There was a confused silence. What are you talking about, man? I told you, that conference is a lie. I'm sitting here with the kids, watching cartoons. My wife is God knows where. Jenna let out a choked sound as her mother stared, horrified, first at the phone, then at her daughter on the floor. Her father took a step forward, his fists clenched. Just then, my phone buzzed with another incoming call. It was Rick again. I switched over. Frank, it's me, he said grimly. You were right. We got a warrant for the Juniper Ridge Resort, used a missing person pretense, and swept the place. Found 12 people total, my wife included, 2 plastic surgeons, a wealth manager, 4 other agents from your wife's firm, and some of their clients. He paused. I'm really sorry, man. Me too, Rick, I said quietly. But it is what it is. Thanks. I hung up, then turned toward Jenna, who was now slouched on the bottom step like a wounded animal. Go upstairs. Put on something decent. Then get your suitcase and get the hell out of my house. She whimpered but eventually pushed herself to her feet, trembling. She turned to go, but then stopped halfway up the stairs, her head bowed. Please, she whispered. Please don't throw me away like this. Oh, you mean now you care? I snapped, the rage finally cracking my voice. After you blew up our family with that it's my body crap? You know how many times I could have cheated on you? On the road, week after week? The waitress at that diner in Phoenix. Remember her? The saleswoman at the Lincoln dealership who kept calling? Hell, even your own sister used to flirt with me when you weren't around. But I didn't, because I loved you. My voice broke on the last word. "And this is how you repay me." She broke into fresh sobs and ran the rest of the way up the stairs, one high heel clattering down behind her. The living room fell into a dead, uncomfortable silence. After a beat, Emily said quietly, I'll go check on her. Make sure she doesn't do anything stupid." 30 minutes later, Jenna came back down, looking like someone who had just walked through a hurricane backward. Her hair was a mess. Mascara was smeared down her cheeks, and she was dressed in faded jeans and a hoodie that looked 10 years old. She dragged her suitcase behind her like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Mike stepped in front of her near the door. "Don't worry, Mom," he said, his voice dripping with a sarcasm so cold it could freeze fire. "Jessica and I will make sure your next wedding doesn't interfere with any of your sex retreats. You know, since you forgot to invite us to this one." Jessica was Josh's girlfriend. It was serious. My son was already imagining his mother's second wedding. Jenna froze at the door, completely crushed, before her mother gently helped her out into the night. Brad. Jenna froze at the door, crushed. Her mother gently helped her down the front steps as her father lingered a moment, then turned to me with a heavy expression. Is there any chance to fix this?" "She's not well, clearly. Maybe she needs help. Maybe nothing really happened. She can talk to my lawyer," I said flatly. "That's all I've got left to say to her right now." "She loves you, son," he offered gently, as if that were some kind of magic eraser. I looked him straight in the eye. Funny way of showing it. That's the thing with people like them. They always default to the same damn excuse. Consenting adults. Nobody's really hurt until they get caught. Then suddenly, everyone's scrambling to rewrite the script, casting themselves as the victim. And sure enough, the fallout came fast and hard. It turned out Dr. Vance had used his business expense account, claiming the entire Juniper Ridge retreat as client entertainment and recruitment for a new medical spa venture implicating everyone there. They tried to bury it, of course. PR spin, internal investigations, privacy of personnel matters, all the usual corporate garbage. But it didn't work. The truth leaked, and several high-profile marriages went up in smoke. Ours was just one piece of the wreckage. And this wasn't the first time they'd done it, but it was definitely the last. I filed for divorce. What else could I do? Still, I'm not a naturally vengeful or aggressive guy. I manage massive projects, solve logistical nightmares, and build bridges. I'm not built for this kind of human drama. And God help me, despite it all, I still loved her. So, I didn't serve the papers immediately. I let them sit. I watched. I listened. She went to therapy. The kids, to their credit, backed me up, but they also didn't abandon her. They saw me trying, and they knew I didn't give up easily. But it hurt. It was like getting blindsided by a freight train you never saw coming. And the whole time I kept asking myself, how could I have been so blind? My company gave me extended personal leave, no questions asked. Meanwhile, Jenna lost her real estate license. Brenda was fired. So was everyone else from the firm who was part of that circus. Dr. Vance was sued into oblivion by Eleanor and a handful of other spouses, and his practice was gutted by the scandal. And Jenna, she wasn't just some innocent bystander. She was the newest recruit in their secret little club. Apparently, Brenda had been working on her for a while, whispering poison in her ear. "You owe it to yourself." She told her, "It's just fun. Powerful people networking. It's how the world works." 6 months. That's how long it took them to convince her. Over a year. That's how long it took me to even begin to feel like I could breathe again. I kept asking myself that old question. Are you better off with her or without her? I didn't know. I became hyper-aware, obsessed, watching her like a hawk. Are we okay? Is everything all right? Over and over. I could see the cracks in her as she tried to keep up the performance of the perfect, repentant wife. But she stuck with therapy. She listened to her parents, to our kids. She saw that I was clawing for any reason to trust her again. And she told me, over and over, that she still loved me. God help me. I believed her. Eventually, I sued Dr. Vance and his business partners. I had to wait in line behind Eleanor's divorce suit, but I was still ahead of a bunch of others. In the end, we settled for a sealed six-figure sum. Damage control, hush money, call it what you want. As for Jenna, she couldn't show her face in this town for months. I don't know if her old friends even talk to her anymore. Was I lucky? Maybe. I caught it all just in time. My project manager's brain clicked into overdrive when it mattered most, and I had my kids and a few loyal friends standing by me when it all crumbled. Did I take my marriage for granted? Maybe, but not anymore. It took more than a year, but somehow we're back. And strangely, our sex life, it's better than it ever was. Raw, vulnerable, real. Sometimes she cries afterward, deep, aching sobs, and whispers how sorry she is, how she wishes she could undo everything she broke. It's not perfect, but we're rebuilding. And don't get it twisted. I'm not some pushover. About 8 months after the whole show, I ran into Vance at the gym. He was with some new, younger woman, looking smug, like he was still invincible. I waited until he stepped out into the parking lot alone, and then I beat the ever-loving hell out of him. I broke his perfect nose, and then I pinned his right hand to the pavement and stomped on it, shattering his index and middle fingers. "Let's see you hold a scalpel now, you son of a bitch," I told him while he screamed. Whatever charm he had left, I ripped it right off his damn face. Lucky for me, my friend Rick Peterson happened to be pulling into the lot at that exact moment. Call it fate or poetic justice. He took his sweet time getting out of the car. Yeah, I know it was brutal, but you don't mess with my family and expect me to stay quiet like some spineless chump. You break my heart, I'll break your hands. Simple math. Anyway, that's the story. One hell of a ride, right? Real life doesn't ask permission to get messy. It just knocks you down, kicks you in the gut, and dares you to stand back up. So let that be a warning. Keep your eyes open. Know who you're lying next to, because sometimes the person you trust the most is the one holding the knife.